Do you have any sense on the bailout that was done, or the bailouts that were done?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen stories about the banks that are paying back the money now. Overall, would you say, did the bailout save the banking system? Or did more people succeed than failed, and therefore was a success? And in retrospect, was the bailout a bad idea? What if you had to bail? If it worked this time, what if you had to bail them out again?
Well,
as opposed to the government.
I think
you could look at this and say the government wants to control private industry.
You could look at it that way, or you could look at it that, well, then let's have a constant policy of bailout. I don't think we have a right to allocate taxpayers' money, taxpayers' assets to the benefit of people who are in the financial institutions that can treat their institutions as if they're parties at a casino. You know, make a bet, they win. If they win, they make the money. Make a bet, and if they lose, taxpayers pay for it. For some reason, I think that's the dream of every businessman, but I'm not sure that's what business should be about, Richard. You make a bet right here. You lose, you're gone. You win, you get to keep the money. That's our system. We allowed our financial institutions to get out of that system by becoming too large and too interconnected. The best example I can think of is AIG. You know, here's the American Insurance Group grew to such an extent and size and interconnectability. It's not their size that caused the problem. It was their interconnectability that caused their problem. But here, 4,000 corporations under one umbrella. And they had a little entity over in London, 400 people, running the financial products of AIG. And what did they do? They played the derivative game, a great game. It's all it is an insurance, a life insurance product on financial products. They were able to get into derivatives to the tune of they were a counterparty for $2.8 trillion. And what was beautiful about it is they didn't have any assets, and they didn't need any assets. So when it turned and went down, which to my way of thinking that happens in our society, they were caught with their pants down, if you will. And rather than just dipping out at that point, they were able to come back to the mother lode. AIG in America and the 4,000 other companies, they almost succeeded in collapsing those companies. If they had, they alone would have wiped out all the banks in the world and all the insurance companies in the world. Luckily, the insurance commissioners in the various states didn't act fast enough to allow them to get to the collateral of the insurance industry. And they just went into default. We went in seasoned, I think we put $200 billion just to stabilize the situation. We don't want that to happen anymore. There's no reason to allow 400 guys to play casino in Europe to make money when they're not really doing anything other than buying and selling insurance contracts on agreements, on products, paper. That's all it was, counterparty paper. I guess some people would disagree. I'd rather back up and break entities like that into several tranches. And if they fail in the business of doing derivatives, they go down. The people who do business with them lose money. I think that's healthier for our system. And that's what we're working on after we get done with regulatory reform. The jurisdiction of my subcommittee and the committee is to take on the government-sponsored enterprises, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the Federal Home Loan Bank System, which are another multi-trillion-dollar problem that we have to resolve. Our problem is these problems were allowed to grow to such excess and to explode with such suddenness that to unravel it has been very difficult. But you asked a question, did the bailout save anything? No. Yes, but not really no. The bailout was essential if we didn't want to spend the time to rebuild a financial system in the world. And ultimately, it was cheaper to do what we did and come back to recovery. Nobody in their wildest dreams imagined we'd be sitting around this table 14 months later with the major question is, have we arrived at growth and recovery, or do we still have a couple of months to go? That's the only question. Our economy is safe. The world economy is safe. Our biggest problem is loss of jobs. That's the big problem. Not that we're going to have internal collapse. That's quite a success. Now, do we want, I think, you know, the problem with it is the use of the term bailout. There was no bailout. We had a rescue program. The rescue program was putting money into Treasury and authorizing them to allocate that money to the financial institutions necessary. If you do a study of it, the money invested, hundreds of billions of dollars, all of it has been returned so far. The last vestiges will be coming out within the next year, and all that money will have been returned. Now, you should ask the question, is that success? Yeah, to avoid a Great Depression or the destruction of the entire world economic system and get repaid and paid back within a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, that's pretty successful, I think. And I dare say not always with the support of all our friends. Certainly the Republicans didn't have any support for it. The Democrats didn't have all of their members. It was a tough vote. I was there. But it was a smart vote. It was a winning vote. I'm proud of it. Now we have to get our money back, and now we have to look at the auto industry succeeding, and that we'll get our money back eventually from them. We'll actually make money on the banks. Now, the question is, that's what we're involved with now, passing the laws necessary that hopefully we never have to bail out anyone again. And the way we can do that is to have better regulatory laws and better regulatory structures. And I think the law that I've participated in writing, I wrote about half of the law, I think it's one of the best things. You know, the thing I find interesting, actually, is in your profession, not mine. I sort of look at all the books who go over, you know, what did we do, what are we doing, they're either damn poor readers of bills, or they really don't care to understand. Because about half of the books that are on the market don't even know, one, what we've done. They don't know what it will entail. And it seems, and the greatest fear is, I just wrote a letter off to, Simon Johnson, his most recent book. He has a book that is entirely wrong.
Which book is that?
The 13 Banks.
Oh, okay.